So these are some of the things librarians should be doing, handling the few reference questions we still have, collection development, creating the content, community relations program, etc. So, what can Emma do now? Well, as you saw, she answers some of the questions about our library and services. She can accept purchase requests and comments. She will link to other pages in our website or to other resources. And those are pre-selected, which is a nice thing. We try to make sure that she only goes to things like the Ohio Web Library or other sources of reliable information. So she doesn't just go out to Google or any place at all. We have some demos on our website, and she'll link to those so people who aren't sure how to place a hold or access their account, click on a demo and watch it play. It's Camtasia. She can open my account, etc. And the pictures, I should mention, are from the real Emma. There is a real Emma cat. And the top one is when we found her as a kitten, and then when she was a little older, and finally in her adult state. So where do we want to take this? Right now we're working on a desktop icon for library computers in-house use. Working on reader's advisory, which is something I am not very good at doing, and I don't like doing it, so I definitely want to automate that. We want to improve the prompting and direction of questions, and I'll demonstrate that in a minute. It's been a little tricky to try to balance the chat with her providing immediate answers. You know, our goal isn't to keep the conversation going necessarily. We'd like a patron to get a meaningful response, say, within 3 or 4 interactions. So that's been a little bit of work. We just applied for an LSTA grant, which is Library Services and Technology Act, and that will be for that will be to fund hardware to deploy more of those little self-serve info stations throughout the community. And also part of this grant is what we call the bot in a box. So that would be a rewriting of all of her code to move things like hours and library name, etc., to bot property. So another library could just download this blank template, put in there all of their own information, and not have to put that into each category. On the drawing board, we want to direct link to a patron account so she can start putting holds on for you, or at least in a couple of steps. Multiple resource linking, so when we put in a query, say, for green energy, we get both our catalog and, say, Ohio Web Library, and maybe a few other databases. And we're always interested in voice recognition. As fun as she is to converse with when you type, it would be much better if you could just speak with me. And in the library world, Emma is no longer alone. We've been working with the Akron Summit County Public Library for about a year now. Other libraries are also starting to develop their own bots. This spoke with North Canton Public, which is also in Ohio, very interested. Wadsworth is working on their own. Westlake Porter is going to be working with us to develop a bot. When I was out in San Francisco last week, the University of Nebraska is developing something very similar to this. It's only after hours when the library is closed. But it is going to be a form of automated reference service. Finally is the Ohio Virtual Reference Project. That is Emma's source code. It's on Google Code. And we're making this available and open for others to develop and participate to help spread this technology. That's about it. Do you have any questions? Please.
Have you ever seen the movie Desk Set?
I have, and I did not. No, I saw that after I named her.
Well, I mean, Katharine Hepburn and
Yeah.
Mr. Tracy about the computer replacing the Christmas library.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because in that movie, computer was named Emmy,
I forget that.
but our bot is named after Emma the cat.
What kind of team of people do you have working on the contents of your brand?
Me, right now, and Michelle McNeil, who's the web specialist at Akron Summit. Michelle, well, both of us do a lot of other things at our library, so we have a limited amount of time to work on these. Generally, if Emma's response is nice and pleasant, it's something Michelle wrote. If it's a little cranky, it's something that I wrote, because I'm usually tired when I work on it.
So how many hours a week or a month do you think you guys put into this? For like reviewing conversations and writing new content?
I check the logs about I try not to wait more than about 3 days. And I do track the responses to see what her correct or meaningful response rate is. Doing that takes about an hour, and then adding the content is maybe another hour. At this point, I'm going to say about 5, because some of it is just my experimenting and trying to add fun or more interesting things.
So how much would you say, in terms of content, that are you looking at that, for instance, like, someone is asking, I want to learn about chatbots, and how much of that do you think you're doing?
As far as possible, I try to have her pass the question. I mean, that struck me early on was that a human reference librarian doesn't know everything. We don't want to.
Right.
We want to know where to find it. And so instead of adding a bunch of general knowledge to the bot, I thought, let's have her pass the question, just like we would.
So, but I guess that's the interesting kind of, if you're passing it to, let's say, a search engine, you want to be able to qualify the answer.
Yes.
And then that's usually what can help. And you're the human behind the scenes writing that.
In this case, we pre-select where the query is going to go.
Okay.
So, again, most of these go to the Ohio Web Library, which is if you don't live in Ohio, it's a collection of databases, and it's all pre-selected. So it's all reliable, good information. Yeah.
How do you find the questions that weren't given a meaningful answer in your log?
I go through log by log. I look at all the conversations.
How many are you getting per day?
Well, we're getting about 1,000 a week. So if I do it every other day, it's not too bad.
I see.
I have not. When she got the 10,000 interactions, February 2010, she was on our homepage. Right now, I'll show you. We have her on the homepage, but there's not 3. I'm not going to bother. We have a little SiteCal ad on the homepage. And one of the reasons I haven't put her back on there is because I'm not really too good at using other methods of looking at conversations other than just looking at each one. And while I want to get that use, I need to make sure I have the time to either learn how to do it more efficiently or have the time. Yeah, so we have a little Emma up here. And
Links are coming in May. Follow the link below to find out if your e-reader or computer is compatible with Overdrive. We'll have more information about our ebook program and how to download titles later this month.
The other place that we have the same AI brain is here on our web pack, our online catalog. So we don't have the avatar, we don't have the text.
Jesus Christ, we're not going to get to see it.
There it is. And again, it's passing the search to our catalog, and then the page rank schedule results. Okay, any other questions?
Have you experimented with the Pandora box targeting system?
Just a little bit, but I'm not sure I really know how to use it very well yet. I know they're
They're
just
speaking
tweak
right
it
now.
a little bit,
You're not picking them up,
but I need to definitely get better using it before I
but he is.
actually go ahead.
That's another answer to your question, Charles, I think, is that Pandora box has a system called targeting that creates a report of all the patterns of frequency of activation. And basically, anytime there's a pattern that contains a wildcard, that means it's a specific answer because there was an exact match. So those are always an opportunity to create. And I have one last question.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about the
Buried in this.
you mentioned briefly about the open source and how that might affect this work of this technology?
Well, libraries definitely seem to be interested in this, and it's been kind of interesting for me as this project has become better known among our or within our field, I should say. Librarians seem to fall into two categories pretty clearly. People are either enthusiastic about this and they're interested in implementing it, or they're worried about it and they think it's a terrible thing. I don't know if I can give you a percentage. I think most of the people I've met like the technology. They can see its potential and value to our field, especially right now where funds are getting cut. We lost another 5% this year in Ohio. We have to do something. There are those who are afraid of this. Since we do want to spread, we want to share this with other libraries. We want to help our field survive. This has been licensed under Apache 2.0, and that's another reason we set up the Ohio Virtual Reference Project, was so other developers look at this and make improvements, because she's a good start. She's nowhere near where we want her to end up. But it's out there. It's free.
So, is it the fear that motivated the library in Nebraska, I think you said, to not want to run this except for after hours?
Well, I didn't get to speak with her at great length, so I'm not sure that I can answer that accurately. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a reason why they decided, initially at least, just to run this when the library was closed. I wouldn't be surprised that once it is running, within 6 months, a year, that I would think it'd be going over. That's just, if it works well, if it's answering questions for the patrons, you have immediate answers. You have 24/7 assistance, and for a lot of the stuff we get asked, this can answer the questions. Oops.
At the main library, there are restrooms in the lobby and children's restrooms on the second floor.
You don't need to take someone's time. We have signage up. If people are really worried about the technology, this is just sort of a fancier sign. It interacts with you. People like it. It's fun to use. It tells them what they need to know. But back to your question, I imagine I wouldn't be surprised if that were one of the reasons. But I can't.
Thank you very much.
So that's it. Well, thank you.
Thank you.